So for those of you who haven't met me, or if it's your first year at Tomahawk, my name is Brian Halloran. I am the Tomahawk director. This will be my 21st summer working on Tomahawk staff and my 12th year as the Tomahawk director. I'm very excited to be back again. It's going to be an awesome summer. I feel, and I think I said this last year, but I really do feel it this year, the remnants of COVID, of what that did to our staffing, what that did to our programming, budget, all kinds of things. I feel like we've made it over that hump, and I'm really excited for this summer. We're able to buy some more program supplies and work on other facility improvements, and so I feel like we got our feet underneath us, and so I'm really excited for the upcoming summer. Just an audio check and visual check for those online. If I can get a thumbs up from Ian or Teddy, just to make sure everybody online can see the presentation, can see me, and can hear me. Seeing some thumbs up. Great. Okay. So this summer, our patch is a Minnesota Gophers themed, so Craig will be really happy about that. Last year was purple. It wasn't Vikings, it was purple. And the year before that, it was accidentally the Miami Dolphins. So this year's patch is maroon and gold, my alma mater, and very excited for that. Packet materials. So today, everybody received a folder. If you're here in person, you received 2 program catalogs. Thank you for being here in person. It saves us a little shipping. You received 1 planning guide. This is the boring one, but an important one. You should have received a bear manual, so just about our bear policy. It's not nearly as scary as it sounds. And a little postcard for a new parent first-year camper orientation. So this card is specifically for a meeting for parents that are unsure about sending their first-year scout to camp or their second-year scout to camp. So if they need some convincing, this webinar is where they can get their questions answered. We'll have a panel of Scoutmasters there, as well as professionals. So planning guide, program catalog, the camping guides, the camp guides, these are the ones that fit in your back pocket, the half sheet ones. They're about this size. These we're waiting to publish until May. The reason being is that there's still some decisions being made about what the schedule at camp is going to look like, what programs are being offered. And even this year, we'd like to include a staff roster so you know which area director you need to go to if you have questions and what their name is. So we can't do that until May just because we want to make sure we don't have to make any other changes before then. It'll be available online May 1st. However, 2 copies will be printed for you for pickup at your check-in. And 1 will go to your SPL, yes, your SPL, and the other one goes to an adult leader. There'll be another one on your bulletin board, and you can print as many copies as you want. But we'll provide you 2. New things for this year. This is the exciting stuff. We've started a merit badge rotation a couple of years ago, and this year we've got movie making merit badge coming in. That's brand new. That will be rotating out after this year. Nova Up and Away. That's an advancement that will be rotating out after this year. Bird study, forestry, mammal study, orienteering, rowing, salesmanship, soil and water conservation, and weather merit badges. These will be available in 2024, but they will not be available in 2025. These are going to be every other year merit badge rotations. If you want a list of those, on page 2 of the program catalog, those are listed in the bottom left-hand. In the back of that program catalog, there are merit badge details. It also tells you which years those are being offered in that grid. So for those of you worried that you had to take notes today, that's not one of them that you need to record. Really exciting. We are doing an Apostle Islands Lake Superior sailing adventure. We had a lottery for this. We have filled 6 of our 8 weeks for the summer. This is designed for a troop to book out all of the spots. It's $5,600 for a group of 8, $700 per person. And that's a Sunday through Saturday program. It aligns with the the same length of time that a troop is there. And they're going to be spending 3 nights on the boat, sleeping on the boat at anchor around the Apostle Islands. And they're going to have 4 days of sailing. So they'll be sailing Tuesday afternoon through Friday afternoon on this boat. Monday, you're doing basic sailing training at Tomahawk. Sunday night, you're going to be doing campfire along with everybody else at camp. Friday night, you're going to be at closing campfire. So you'll be back in time for closing campfire. We still have openings for week 6 and 8, and I haven't canceled those spots with the group that we're doing this sailing adventure with. The person that we're running this with used to work at Tomahawk, is currently the mayor of Bayfield, and runs a Sea Scout ship and used to run the marina. So
Your list.
that is correct. I made a mistake. 5 and 7. Thank you for bringing that up. Perfect example of why you should raise your hand in the middle of the presentation. Perfect. Thank you. So 5 and 7, I'm looking for troops. If not, we'll cancel those weeks with the vendor. So week 5 and 7, if you've got a troop or you know somebody else here that might want to combine efforts to fill those 8 slots, let us know. You need 2 adults and 6 scouts. You could do 3 adults and 5 scouts if you wanted. Updated equipment. We bought 50 tents in preparation for the summer, brand new tents. They have 2 doors because everybody got mad when I bought ones with only 1 door. They have Velcro ties and sewn corners, so minimal amount of entry for mosquitoes. We got new lily pads for each of the beaches, those big foam rollout things for kids to play King of the Lily Pad, I guess. Our water rooshes had found the manufacturer limits. So we bought new mountain bikes. So these have front suspension. They've got 12 gears in the back. They're really nice bikes, very similar to what anybody else would be using. So they're not low range bikes. They're definitely mid to high range. We bought new whitewater kayaks. So if you're interested in buying some old whitewater kayaks and spray skirts, let me know. We're going to be selling those. And then new climbing holds on our climbing towers. The 2x4 blocks are getting pretty rounded on those corners. So we want to replace them with rock holds. So this is a big one. This is going to be a new change, cancellation policy. And this has been an effort to get all camping operations on the same refund and cancellation policy. So this is less forgiving than what it has been in the past. So if there's going to be one thing that you make sure you don't forget is this. So when you book, you put $50 down on every youth that's going to come. That's a non-refundable deposit. If you put them on your roster and you pay the $50, they're coming to camp. Otherwise, they're going to be out the $50. If you find out that scout can't come to camp and it's 30 days outside of camp and you cancel, you're only out the $50 deposit. If it's between 30 days, so 29 to 8 days, you're still out the deposit, but the rest of the money you can use towards any other camping department sponsored thing like Snow Base, Northwind, Fall Day Camp, Merit Badge Days. As long as it's in the scouting event system, you can use it for that. If it's within a week, you're out everything. Any exceptions I'll take on a case-by-case basis, but that's the part that gets kind of scary. So if you show up to camp and you say, oh, Bobby couldn't come, they had a baseball tournament that they decided not to go to, I'm sorry, Bobby is out their camper fee. So that's a big one. Voyagers Outpost. This was an old program that I remember running as a beach specialist, and we're going to be making this available for troops to sign up. So we will drop you off at Mud Lake, which is on the north part of camp, and you can paddle around all afternoon and through the evening around the entire Tomahawk Peninsula. So it's like a 10-mile paddle, maybe 12-mile paddle, and you do this right after lunch, and you'd stop in Chippewa for supper, and then you'd finish at Central Services at the big, gigantic flagpole. So it's a fun thing that you can do as a troop guided activity. It's pretty hard to get lost. You just keep taking left turns. If you see a cabin on your right-hand side, you are on the wrong side of the lake. Be on the other side. So that's fun. That'll be a troop activity that you can sign up for, just like troop tower, troop climb, troop shoot. Pretty cool thing. This will not be on the Voyageur canoes. This will be on standard size canoes. This would be a good, are they ready for boundary waters type trip. We will pick you up, we will drop you off, and we will move the canoes. In your program catalog, you'll notice in the older Scout programs that there's less a la carte 1 day, 1 morning style programs. The reason being was that it's difficult for troops to manage and collecting schedules from Scouts. And it was difficult for staff that have to be in different places at different times. So we've bundled more activities together. So if you're signing up for ATVs on Monday morning, you're not just signing up for ATVs on Monday morning, you're also signing up for high ropes and the mega tower. And it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday so that it nests inside of other merit badges and other opportunities. So less scheduling conflict, and everything is listed on that guide. I'll talk more about promoting camp programs to Scouts in a bit, but there's more bundles. And some of the bundles are a little bit different. So everybody remembers the Sparks program that had welding and metalwork in it. Well, Tuesday and Thursday, that program is metalwork and welding. Now there's a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday version that is welding, metalwork, and we've added plumbing. That's a badge that we've done in the past. It's pretty fun. This is our plumbing laboratory. There's a toilet that does work. You're not supposed to use it. You're just supposed to flush it. There's a bucket behind it that collects the water and a water pump that pumps it up, and the Scouts can see the plumbing arrangement in the back, part of the educational process. And so that will be an option with the Monday, Wednesday, Friday option, but not part of the Tuesday, Thursday option. So make sure you're taking a look at that grid to know which one is going to be the right one.
If kids have already earned the Sparks bundle, but had an interest in plumbing, would they have to just do plumbing?
Good question. If the Scouts have already done the welding and the metalwork, but they want to do the plumbing, how can they do that? Well, the STEM Nova Up and Away is all about fluid dynamics and terminal velocity, and we're pairing that with plumbing merit badge. So if they want plumbing merit badge, but not welding and metalwork, they can take the Up and Away, earn the Nova Award, and plumbing merit badge. We're piloting a new program on the other side of our trades workshop, woodwork, and we're pairing that with painting. So these Scouts will be building a shelf for themselves. They'll be building a bench for the Chippewa Dining Hall, and they'll be building a birdhouse. They'll be painting 2 of those items. They'll also be painting a camp latrine or the side of a building that has 0 windows on it. That'll just be 6 Scouts, a small pilot program, and we're pretty excited about it. In the program catalog towards the back, there is this grid, and so you'll see all of the different programs. We've gotten rid of the fancy names, and we've just told you what's in the program right there. So these 2 pages, there's a 2-page spread in the back of the program catalog, and those 2 pages can be used for all of your program planning. So if it's grayed out, anything to the right of the title of the program, if it's gray, it means that that's a session. So if it's gray on Monday afternoon or Wednesday afternoon and Friday afternoon, that means that class is in session. They need to attend all 3 of those. If there's an X, it means it's on camp property. If it's an O, it's off-site. Sometimes that changes because of weather and other things, but generally that's going to be our ideal scenario. So those bundles are kind of a new way of doing it, but it should be easier for Scouts to express what they want to do to you and for you to communicate all the opportunities to them. A lot of people have been asking about paddlecraft safety as a training. We're offering it this year. You attend canoeing merit badge and you attend rowing merit badge. You're going to help with those classes as well as attend those classes. And then there'll be another session to be determined and announced later in the afternoon with our aquatics director. So they'll do the testing and all the other stuff later, but most of the content and the skill proficiency is covered through the merit badges. Yes.
Great way to get some extra adult resource.
Yeah. So it's a sneaky way for me to get help with canoeing and rowing. Yeah. We'll get to more help later because I need help. And not all of you like to hang out on the campsite. exclusively. So we want you to come out and help. Sailing Merit Badge is going to be Monday through Thursday again this year. That is going to be all afternoon. That is an older scout program for 13 plus, partially because I want your younger scouts to be in troop activities during the afternoons. And also I've taught Sailing Merit Badge a lot, and 12-year-olds are not good at it. So if they're 13, they've got a chance in understanding and being able to do it. There is no class on Friday. However, there is a Friday afternoon regatta. We're going to set up regatta buoys and we're going to run a simple regatta. So if you want to be part of a sailing race, we're going to have the catamarans out. Maybe the big boats are going to be out. Sailing Merit Badge kids can really test their skills if they want to. I'm hoping to be there every Friday afternoon. That's I live and breathe for sailing at camp. So it should be a lot of fun. Big boat sailing is going to be back at the sub camp level. So that'll be a troop activity this year. That's new to sailing. So the big boats can take 6 scouts at a time. They've got a little cabin underneath them. And the Lake Superior Sailing Group, that's what your Monday is going to be spent doing, is going to be sailing on that and other small boats in preparation for the 60-foot boat. Horseback rides. This is a change, and horseback riding is going to be signed up through the online registration system, similar to merit badges. Reason being, it involves money and commitments, and we've had difficulty finding out who's going to go and who wanted to go. So if your scouts want to go horseback riding, have them tell you, and you will sign them up for it, just like you would sign them up for a merit badge. I should have mentioned this earlier, just in case you hadn't figured out. The page 3 of your planning guide is all of these things. So if you needed to make notes next to anything, all of the topics are covered. I apologize, they're not in the same order in which I'm presenting them. This next photo is not complete. So I'm just saying that in the preface, the project is not done yet. But a month ago, 2 months ago, that's what it looked like. We're moving the Chippewa Director's Office. This was the Chippewa Director's Office. Micah Hale, our Chippewa Director, is being moved to the left of this brand new wall. This space over here is now a leader's lounge, or it will be. And that space is going to be internet adjacent and Chippewa adjacent. So if you are a leader in Chippewa or in Sioux Camp, instead of going to Central Services or to the Welcome Center to work remotely or check in with the outside world, you can stroll on down by the trading post in Chippewa and do your work there. But I go to White Pine. What will I do? We are getting a Starlink antenna to put on top of the White Pine program building this summer. So you will have internet in White Pine in the program building. You already have a leader's lounge there. So yay, internet. We need it for the trading post, and you need it to connect with the world, and more people are working remotely from camp. If you do want to work remote from camp, if you can somehow make your background just be camp with kids running around, it's really fun to hear people explain where they are to their coworkers in meetings. So
We're a large bear.
all right, this is a big one that you're all dealing with already, but the youth protection standards for adult leadership on any overnight outing has been updated as of September 1st. So next summer, if you have anybody spending the night at camp, they need to be a registered adult leader with the BSA. And that doesn't just affect you, it also affects how we run other programs, and which is another topic. But make sure anybody coming to camp that's spending the night is a registered adult leader. I will not be verifying that at camp. That is your job as adult leaders to make sure that you're verifying that on weekend campouts, any sort of outing that you're doing, your own high adventures. So make sure that your adults that are staying overnight are registered. Family Island, those are not overnight participants in your campsite. So if you have people in Family Island, which is a great thing that you should be doing with your troops, Family Island participants are not overnight participants with your troop, and therefore do not need to be registered adult leaders. It's a good thing if they're involved in your troop, but if they're not directly involved with your troop, that's fine in Family Island. Yes?
Does that include a parent that would be coming over for AOL outpost?
Does that pertain to adults with a pack that are coming over to visit for a night and spending the night with the troop because your troop is awesome and is hosting their Arrow of Light dens. With this Cub Scouting program, a parent that is attending with their child that is not responsible for other children and is just there to be with their own child and is not covering the Too Deep leadership aspect of that outing does not need to be a registered adult leader. But if they are providing the Too Deep leadership for the pack, they do need to be registered. So if you have 10 Arrow of Light Scouts and 10 adults, only 2 of those adults would technically need to be registered.
Ryan,
Yes.
Just a point, that can be a very slippery slope where you think you're covering the requirements that are written, but if you get pulled in to do something, help out with some way, you're no longer. So it's best to.
Yeah, the clarification point was there is that it's a slippery slope. When you say, well, you were registered and this is your role being here, but you're not registered and this is your role being here. It's very easy for someone that's just attending with their own youth at the pack level to, somebody runs off to go do something else and now they're watching other people's kids. You have to avoid that. So that's just to keep youth safe and cover all of us. So that we can do cool things. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more for everybody online. So with that, our offsite programs have become more difficult. So when we do mountain biking offsite, I have to provide a 21-year-old and another 21-year-old. It's already really difficult for me to hire 21-year-olds to come and be at camp for the entire summer. So what do I need? I need one of your adult leaders to come with, and you get to come and attend for free. If you like to mountain bike, great. If you don't, you can sit at the trailhead and play Candy Crush on your phone. I don't care. But I need somebody out there with us. We're still providing 2 staff members. It's just that I can't guarantee that one of them, that they're both going to be over the age of 21. And I'm not going to be able to guarantee that every makeup of gender on that trip is going to match what our staffing requirements are. So if we have girls participating, I need to have a female on that trip over the age of 21 and registered with the BSA. I may have an 18-year-old, but I don't have the 21-year-old all the time. So I'm going to need your help. There'll be emails going out about how you can sign up for that. But just plan, if you're having anybody doing an offsite trip, whitewater, biking, rock climbing, the plan to send an adult leader to go rock climbing or whitewater kayaking or go biking. We're planning for at least one adult to come with. So keep that in the back of your mind when you're signing up for people. It's also a really great opportunity to take pictures and show people what your kids have been doing. So, yes.
Does paddlecraft safety cover both flat water segments but not river segments?
Correct. It just covers the flat water segment. If you go on the whitewater trip, then we would be able to cover the moving water components. So.
And then we have one other question. Adults need YPT also, correct?
That is correct. Thank you for that clarifier. Along with adult leadership being registered, they also need to be trained in youth protection. And that's a good thing for every adult to have. Everybody should be taking youth protection training and be aware of that so that they understand how our program is keeping kids safe. Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of talk about the changes to adult registration, but has there been any consideration whatsoever given to the idea of having a registration category? Essentially, I'm an adult who's going to go on 1 or 2 things, but I'm not otherwise doing any leadership with a troop, so that a less expensive registration might be available. I mean, I understand the need for the background check for youth protection, but we've got a lot of parents who want to participate, but they might only want to participate for one thing. And registering without any clear idea of what else they're doing the rest of the year feels like for lack of a better word, it feels to a lot of them like a cash grab, which is kind of a hard thing to sell. They still want to be able to participate periodically, especially if we've got kids with, non-neurotypical who benefit from having their adult there so they can participate. I mean, I don't know what to tell them to register as.
To summarize your question, which is really good, is has there been any consideration to having a different tier of registration for adults that might be participating in a different level, whether there might be just 1 or 2 campouts a year, or what their relationship with be with their youth during that time. There are special circumstances, and I don't work for National, and I haven't heard anything about that. But if you're having difficulty, so the answer is I don't know of anything that being provided. But if you're having a challenge running your scouting program because of your adult leadership requirements, call us, and maybe there's something that we can work out or give you some leeway on something, as long as the council feels comfortable with what's going on. And you had mentioned an example of neurotypical or a scout that just needs more assistance. And we want that scout to come to camp. But if that means that their parent needs to come to camp to really make sure that they're successful at camp and have a good time and that the troop is supported, if getting them registered as an adult leader is a barrier, let us know about that barrier and we'll see what we can do. And by we, I mean, I'll talk to John or Colleen, and that's above me, but bring it up. So, because we want to help. Yes, Ted.
I'd suggest that if a troop is struggling with leadership, getting to camp or camp outs, just look around the room. There's lots of volunteers around and probably troops or packs near you that someone's willing to go with, just the scouts will have a camp out.
Yep. You can talk to each other, but that may work for one scenario. It might not work for another one. So if you have a special case, let us know about it and we can make a special exception, maybe. Okay. Logging Legends. This is an expansion or change from the older scout logging program that we had last year. This is Tuesday and Thursday morning. There's going to be a shooting sports component to it. And my hope is to start notching out logs to make a small log cabin someday. I'm not saying it's going to be a good log cabin. I'm just saying we're going to try. They get to do some more blacksmithing. They're going to do knife throwing, the double barrel shotgun and lever action rifle. To do that shooting sports component, they have to be 14 on the day of shooting. There's a separate waiver for that in the planning guide that they need to sign for this program that also goes with the shooting sports outpost. But it's in the mornings. It's really cool. There'll be an optional overnight on Monday night. So when you go up to High Adventure Fun Night on Monday night, you can drop your older kids off at logging camp. Priority registration has been extended. Not only does it just open right now, that's why we had our long line. We were trying to gather who wants to rebook for next year. Everybody should be rebooking for next year. But there's no May 1st deadline anymore. That has been moved to the very end of your camp week. So the last question I will ask you as you leave camp is, do you want to rebook your campsite for next year? And if you say no, the troop behind you can take your campsite, basically is how that works. So it's simpler. You don't have to remember a May 1st deadline. And if you aren't sure you're going to camp with us next year, you can make that decision at camp. So we did this primarily to reduce administrative stress for you, for me. And if you're a brand new troop coming to Tomahawk, I want you to experience Tomahawk and then have the ability to rebook the same campsite for the next year. Camp fees, $375 per youth. That's a $25 increase. It's a pretty big increase, but we need that to provide a good quality program and pay our staff what they need to be paid. There are partial adult rates. And if you're bringing your own food, there's $45 less that you'll pay. And when you confirm your spots online, you'll book for getting food, like the regular registration, or bringing your own food is the other option. That payment timeline, everybody here has already paid their $100 deposit for 2024. That's done. In April, that's when we're collecting youth deposits, that $50 youth deposits. There is no adult deposit. That $50 deposit for the youth allows them to sign up for merit badges, older scout programs, and high adventures. That allows them to sign up for things. Full payment isn't due until June 1st. So you have to make payment by midnight on June 1st for your full payment. If you don't and you wait till after that, there's a $25 late fee. That will just automatically be there on June 2nd. If you have a scout that's not sure if they're going to come to camp or not, You will have to make the decision on whether or not the late fee, you're going to do the late fee or risk a cancellation fee. So be mindful of that when you're getting commitments from people, and be upfront with them when they're making a commitment to go to camp. There is a financial assistance for Northern Star Council units. I'm not sure what other councils have provided for camp assistance, but if you're in Northern Star, you can apply for a campership. You can do this online. The parents can do it, and it can provide up to half of the cost to going to camp. It's for youth only, because that's where people want to put their dollars when they donate to this fund, is towards the youth. That's easy to find. There's a QR code in the program catalog and the planning guide for that. You can share that with your parents. It's online. If you just Google search Tomahawk Campership, it should pop right up. There is a discount for camping twice. Where's my Troop 5 and Troop 559? They come to camp twice because they love Tomahawk that much. If you come to camp twice, you get a $50 discount automatically if you're doing that per person. And that also counts if you're going to Many Point and Tomahawk. You'll get $50 off your second registration. Yes, Dave.
How do you like set that up to make that effective?
It happens automatically. I don't know how though. It's the scouting event magic. What I can tell you is that if you enter the names exactly correct and it verifies your membership in the registration, it'll automatically do that. If you're not seeing that discount, give us a call. We can make it, we can figure it out. Liam Pretzel, who is our camping assistant, has been trained in scouting event magic. So good question. Arrow of Light. If you're going to Tomahawk, guess what? We have a program for the scouts that are the future of your troop. And they could attend almost at the exact same time. This is a weekend program. They arrive on Friday and they stay Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. They have the option to go stay with you on Monday night. So you could host them on Monday night if you want. If you want to do that, talk to them. Encourage them to sign up for the Arrow of Light camp. 19 and a half scouts out of 20 that attend Arrow of Light camp become members of a troop. I don't know where the other half went. What was that, like 4 out of 5 dentists recommend, and what happened to the 5th one? They like passed out on the buzzer or something. So if you're worried about the future of your troop, look at your pack. I've heard so many troops that say, well, our troop's not going to be around anymore. I'm like, well, what's your involvement with your pack? Do you care about your troop? And if you do, you should be caring about your pack. You have been there. You have done that. You are the experienced ones. If you do not have a close relationship with your pack, you don't care about the future of your troop. So make sure that you have a relationship with your pack. Invite them to the Arrow of Light camp. It's an amazing program. Every campsite has a view of the lake. There's water in the background somewhere. Some spots it might be smaller than others, but there is a view of the water, and that's probably one of our only Cub camps that can say that. It's a night longer, and if you don't want to host them for the night, we'll still host them for an extra night if they want to do the outpost. But invite them and have them sign up for outpost if they want to spend an extra night with you, or just spend an extra night at camp. Promoting camp to your families. I work really hard making phone calls, having volunteers make phone calls to get as many troops to come to Tomahawk as possible. I'm going to be asking for your help with some of those troops this year, but I need you to be doing your best to promote camp to your scouts. Summer camp is a long and intimidating thing for a younger family. And sometimes the scouts might be more excited about going to camp than the parents. And sometimes you have to sell the parents more than you sell the scouts. If you need help selling parents, get them to this webinar. We will do our darndest to sell them on camp. But the earlier that your kids can have experiences away from mom and dad or away from home in a safe environment, that builds resiliency and prepares them for other experiences in the future where they're going to be expected to be away from home, like college or when they get their first apartment and they need to know how to do laundry and other things. Life is hard, and if you don't practice, you're not going to be good at life. going to summer camp is part of that practice. So promoting to them, we got a question?
Yes, some clarification on the $50 deposit before signing up for programs. Given that program sign up starts on April 2nd and the deposit is due April 15th, when should that deposit be in ideally?
Good question. Program sign up starts April 2nd. When can I start making youth deposits? You can start making youth deposits today, I believe, or tomorrow. I'll have to double check, but you can make deposits right now. In order to put somebody on your roster, it's $0 for right now, but it will be $50 starting April 1st. But you can always put $50 on everybody's account starting right now. So you can make that deposit anytime you'd like. You don't have to do that in the same night that you're doing program sign up. Yes.
Right, on the first time camper thing that is in here, are you guys sending out any email or anything that we can more easily forward to the parents?
Emails have been sent out for that, I believe, to families, but I'll make sure that we send one out to everybody here. So, Ian, can you jot that down for follow-up notes? Send email to everybody about new parent webinar, all troops getting that email. Right now on the website, the program catalogs that you have in front of you are available. Email that to your families, letting them know about an upcoming Tomahawk planning meeting that you want everybody to be at. In that, you can also send a link to our videos page. Ian, how many videos did you put on this page? 18 videos. Some are longer than others, but there's a landing page for videos. If your scouts sit on their phones or sit at home on their parents' phones watching those videos, they're going to want to come to camp. Then the only person left to sell is the parent. So plan a meeting this month, talk about Tomahawk, talk about programs, commitments, selling the parents on going, and you're going to want to print a copy of the Scout Program Planning Worksheet for each scout. That is included online. It's also in the planning guide. At this presentation for selling parents here on the left, telling parents why camp is important. Talk about safety. They're worried about safety. Don't sell them on like the bear training that much. That can be scary. If you've never seen a bear at camp, let them know that. That's important information. We have a policy so that we don't have problems. If we didn't have a policy, we would have problems. Talk about communication at camp. What's your phone policy with your troop? Can they communicate with their kid? Or how are they going to know that Billy's safe? Billy's having a good time. Talk to parents about homesickness. Legitimate homesickness is part of growing up. And if you have a plan for how you deal with homesickness in your troop, make sure your parents know that. Don't say, if they get homesick, we'll do this. Say when they get homesick, we are going to do this because we have done this in the past and it's worked. So get the parents on board. If that's a separate meeting, great. If you do it with the scouts in the room, great. If you have other questions about that meeting, Myron Jacobson is great at doing it. He's one of our panelists. He's in the back. He'll be leading our new ambassador breakout today. Share pictures from previous summers. What does the campsite look like? What's the tent going to look like? What are the bugs like? You know, talk about the things that, how we mitigate it or make it a little bit better. There are street views of almost every single campsite online. So if you go to the About Us page and go to campsites, chances are there's only 3 campsites that I haven't gotten 360 views of, but you can go to your campsite on Google Street Views and look at your campsite. And you can travel around. And that's a really good way to tell the parents what that experience is going to be like. Celebrate your traditions and have your older scouts talk about their favorite parts of camp, because the younger kids are going to listen to your older scouts because they're cool, because they're older. They're just cool because they're older. And if the parents see older scouts talking, they're going to imagine their young scout someday being an older scout talking in front of a group of people. And parents want their kids to be able to do that someday. So if they're in your troop and they see older scouts doing that, they know that their younger scouts someday will be able to do that. And then promote that first year camper webinar for them. You're going to want to get commitments from the scouts. Every troop is different. So how you collect those payments and get commitments is going to be different. Some of you might have managed accounts for the scouts where they have credits from different fundraisers that they've done that can go towards camping. Some might ask for payments directly from the families. You might collect checks from parents. You might do a Venmo thing. You might want to use the parent portal, which I'll be covering in the Black Pug Scouting event registration tutorial today on how to set that up. Lots of options. And I'm not going to tell you how to do it. You do this for weekend campouts and other things. Every troop is different financially. So promote the discount for camping twice. And if they can't come when your troop is going, or they want more camp, promote our All-Star program. What is our All-Star program? If a scout can't go with their troop, in the past, we've had 2 staff be scoutmasters for the week. And those scouts come together to make a special troop, the All-Star troop, and they can participate together. Well, we only offered 3 of those sessions, and with leadership standards being the way that they are, I don't see myself being able to sustainably staff 3 weeks of program with 2 21-year-olds. That's really just taking staff away from other exciting programs that we could be offering. But I've heard of other troops hosting scouts from their community or the troop next door that couldn't go, and we're going to be formalizing that. So if your troop would like to raise your hand and say, yeah, we'll host 2, 4, 100 scouts, you tell me the amount. There's going to be a breakout after this with Ian Flickinger, and he's going to be talking about responsibilities of host troops. Basically, somebody signs up to go to camp. I find a host troop that week that wants to host them, and I get that scout into your registration. You call them and invite them to be part of all your camp planning. You help us get them signed up for programs. They pay through the parent portal, but they'd attend camp, and then we can offer this opportunity every single week of the summer. And we're hoping to get enough host troops to make that a success this year, especially girl units, because I've had more requests for that. So if you have a girl troop and you'd be open to hosting 1 or 2 scouts from another troop, let us know. There'll be a breakout after this for that. With that presentation, getting commitments from everybody, we have an excerpt online from the last 6 pages of the program catalog where you can just print these. And that's got the details, and it's also got the schedule. The 2 pages that are most interesting are going to be pages 22 and 23. You'll want a copy of that for every patrol. That's got all of the morning merit badge programs and all of the high adventure older scout programs on those 2 pages. That tells you what and when those programs are. There's a lot to digest in there. There's a lot of information, but it's all on those 2 pages. The details of like work ahead of time or extra commitments throughout camp or requirements that cannot be completed at camp and costs, all of that's going to be in the detail pages that follow. That's the boring stuff there. That's the stuff for you to have and tell the scouts about afterwards. Okay. So to sign a scout up for camp, there's a couple ways you can do it. But some troops have a Google form where they collect all this information. I've built the planning worksheet for you to print off and use if you want to. You don't have to use it. I'm not collecting it. It's for you to collect if you want to. But that is a way for a scout to communicate what they want to do to you. It's also got a spot in there for them to list their secondary options. So if they don't get into something, maybe they didn't meet the requirements, the program filled up, there's backup options for you. And then there's a list of troop activities in there for them to rank their choices 1 through 10. You can use that if you want. You don't have to use that if you don't want. Troop activities are in the program catalog. But what I'd recommend is that each scout fills this out. They hand it into your camping coordinator. Your camping coordinator either cuts off the corner with the troop activities on it and gives it to your PLC. And your PLC goes through and they'll rank their troop activities 1 to 15. And then they would do their troop activity submission online. But I have done the program registration for my hometown troop, and having these in front of me was really easy. As soon as I signed a scout up for something, I crossed that program off on their sheet, and I moved on to the next one. And when ATVs filled up, I had other options for the secondary choices to put them into. So How program registration rolls out. We give older scouts top billing for this. They have less years in the programs. We want to make sure that they get the experiences that they want before they age out. So on April 2nd, every program that we offer at Tomahawk, even Brown C, for first year scouts, minimum age is going to be 16. I manually go through and change all the minimum age requirements in the catalog for every program. So please don't email me saying, how is my scout ever going to do Brown C? He's not 16. Just wait. It'll change. So on April 2nd, you have to be 16 years of age or older to sign up for programs. Is that 16 right now? No, it's 16 at the end of August. So I want the end of the summer. That way we don't have to worry about Billy and Bobby are in 8th grade right now. One's 16, one's 15. That doesn't line up with actual grades. But Billy's having a birthday in July. Can he still attend? Yes. I want their age as of the end of August. That's usually where that grade and age break is. So the end of August, they need to be 16. April 9th, everything in the catalog lowers down to a minimum age of 14. So now all your 14-year-olds, 15, 16, 17-year-olds can sign up. It's first come, first serve, starting at 7 p.m. It's all scheduled to open at 7 p.m. On April 16th, the next week, everything's open to everybody. First come, first serve. You have to have that $50 deposit on that Scouts account before you can sign them up. That afternoon, we have some administrative maintenance. So at like 3 p.m., the afternoon of there, you're not going to be able to sign up for any programs because I'm changing all of the ages at that time. So that. Troop activities, there's 3 pages in the program catalog. Put that on the table and have the scouts choose what their favorites are. You could have just your PLC make this decision. You could have each scout participate in that decision. It's up to you. But this is due 2 weeks before you come to camp. It helps me out if you can have it done by June 1st. But this is a simple form online, Google form. It's not in the scouting event registration. And a link to that is in your registration. So when you do your update your contact information for your troop contact, the link is in that section of your roster. I'll be going over that in the presentation after this. Promote the CIT program. Minimum age is 14. There's a whole page in your program catalog about it. This is a great way to get 4 weeks of camp for super cheap. They can earn merit badges. They'll get leadership training. They get to experience what being on camp staff is like, and it's a great feeder program for our staff. You don't have to do this to be on staff, but it's a lot of fun. They get to meet new people. That next step of independence from home. It's really the next step in the scouting program. What?
Hang out with Bubba for a
They
week.
get to hang out with Brian Murhar. Bubba. Promote Family Island to your families. This is the best deal in town. So $450 gets you a cabin with your own toilet. Your own toilet for $450. There's no per person fee. That's it. Your own toilet for $450. There's a bunk room, pretty tight quarters in there, full-size bed, 3 single beds, a bathroom, a small living room, and a small four-person dining table. You can sign up for horse rides. That's an extra charge. You can sign up for archery, BB gun, any other programs. You basically pay a la carte for other programs. You can visit the troop, and the registrations are open now. And the registration policy for this is going to be the same now as our troop policy. So registrations are open now. And if you have a registration for this year, you can book your cabin again before anybody else can. And registrations for 2025 aren't going to open until the day after your week at camp. So Family Island, it's great. Custom t-shirts, we make it easy. You can order online, get your troop number on the sleeve. This is this year's shirt. You can get them in a cotton or a wicking design. This is a peninsula of Tomahawk filled with fun activities that we offer. You can pick your colors from the colors below. You need to order by May 12th to get your shirts by June 13th. They will be shipped to you. They're not going to get shipped to camp. You have to order by June 9th to get your shirts by July 11th. So that's in the planning guide as well. Yep.
Is there a minimum quantity to order?
I am not aware of any minimum quantity to place the order. This is not Tomahawk. I don't run a t-shirt shop. I cannot answer your questions about t-shirt status or anything like that. So when you place your order, you're going to get a confirmation email from a Stillwater company that does all of this. The artwork is done by a previous Chippewa camp director, David Cheetah. And he can help you out with any questions about where's my order and why can't I get it? He's the guy. Randy, then Dave.
I gotta go back to Family Island. How much are your campsites?
The campsites are like $130 for the week. And they're real primitive.
Yep.
There are camper sites with electrical hookups, no water hookups, electrical hookups. There's one 50 amp service and the other ones are 30 amp service. Am I right on that, Myron? There's 4 sites for campers, and then there's 4 sites for tents.
Okay.
I would say that the Family Island tenting is the best real estate in camp, but it's a hand pump and a latrine. So it's not quite family ready, I'd say. I'm waiting for money for that one. Medical forms. We live in the great state of Wisconsin. At least that's where we're camping. Wisconsin says, I have to keep your health forms for 2 years. Wisconsin's the bad guy. I'm not the bad guy. Do not bring me your originals. I don't want your originals. I want your photocopies because I don't want to stand at the photocopier photocopying all of your health forms. So please give me your copies. If it comes in a binder, great. If they're all stapled individually, that's fine too. I'm going to put them in a slot just for your campsite. And at the end of the year, I'm going to put them in a big filing cabinet and they're going to sit there for 2 years. And I'll never touch them again. Bring photocopies of your medical forms, please. Medical services and medications. If you are, if anybody's taking medications, I need a record of that to give to Wisconsin. I don't need the record, but Wisconsin needs me to have the record. So if anybody is receiving medication from someone who is not their parent, I need a record of it. I've tried to make a worksheet that's as easy as possible. There's a sample and a blank in your planning guide. It's also online. You fill out the medications and initial every single time the medication has been given to them. Make sure you bring a lockbox to hold your medications. Medications are a controlled substance and you need to keep that safe from other kids. So it should be locked somewhere that kids cannot get to. That could be in a car that's locked. That's fine. But I'm not going to let you park your car in your campsite. So bring a lockbox. You will use it on other weekend campouts. So please bring a lockbox. Otherwise, I'll sell you one. We have sick call. So we do have volunteer doctors, PAs, or nurse practitioners every week of camp. So if someone needs to see the doctor, they can come up for sick call. We do 9:30 to 10:30 and 7:30 to 8:30. So 2 different sick calls, one after breakfast, one after supper. And that's a really good way to just say, yep, they're fine. And you can tell the parents back at home, yep, they're fine. They just need to go to the bathroom. Basically about it.
Is that still in White Pine?
It is not in White Pine. It's actually in Central Services now. So closer to where the doctor's cabins are. And if you know of anybody who is a doctor, PA, or NP, and would like a free week in a cabin with access to a pontoon and programs for their children, have them talk to me.
They got to work 2 hours a day.
Got to work 2 hours a day. You get to hang out with Connor. That's Connor. Connor is our EMT health director, so he holds an EMT cert, and so that's in addition to the doctor. He knows camp. The doctors know medicine. So we can do stitches. Anything beyond that, they go to town. Food service. A fun one. Big operation. You're going to fill out a food count sheet. You don't have to do this until right before you get to camp, or you can do it at camp. As long as you know the numbers, we're going to help you fill it out. Questions from the back from the previous topic?
Before we get too far off from medical form stuff, we have a question about whether units can send medical forms ahead of camp to verify no problems. And if so, how early can they be sent and to where and who?
Good question. Can I send medical forms early? Please don't. I won't be ready for them. Medical forms, we'll review them at check-in. It's a bit of a bottleneck at check-in. We're looking to make sure that everything's been signed and dated appropriately. If there's any mistakes with that, we'll take it on a case-by-case basis. We do have a volunteer doctor. I'm not paying them, so I can't have them work all day. So we'll try to keep things to a minimum, but bring your health forms with you. I don't want to be receiving them via email for HIPAA reasons and administrative management reasons. I won't be able to do it. Okay. Food service, the food count. You'll fill this out when you get to camp. You're going to tell us what your allergies are, and in your roster for each scout, when you ask for age or gender, their name, there's a field to ask, a drop down for alternate dietary needs. So if they're vegetarian, gluten-free, dairy-free, pork-free, or any other religious substitute, you can note it there. Mixing and matching those different needs becomes really difficult for us. I have a dairy-free menu, but I don't have a dairy-free and gluten-free menu. I have a gluten-free menu, I have a dairy-free menu, but I don't have a gluten-free that is also dairy-free. There is some overlap and options there, but if there's anything outside of the standard meals that are meal service that we provide, send us an email, give us a call, we'll work through it with you. Sometimes it may result in you bringing your own food. Sometimes it might result in you bringing a few items to supplement issue areas on our menu for you. But we'll work with you on a case-by-case basis because everybody's a little bit different. But if you fit into the gluten-free category, we have a gluten-free menu. Our kitchen, we don't have like a little corner that's gluten-free. So it's in the same kitchen as everything else. So if you have a severe reaction, if you get severe reactions to trace amounts of anything, let us know. Oh, helps if you plug your computer in presentations like this. So if one little crumb is going to set off a celiac issue for you or gluten-free thing, you may want to consider bringing your own food to camp. Camp full of kids, a crouton on the salad bar might find its way to the other side. We provide a menu that doesn't include any ingredients, but it is going to be prepared in the same kitchen as everything else, not on the same table as everything else, and we clean the tables in between things. But if you have a severe reaction to trace amounts, give us a call. We'll make accommodations for you to bring your own food, and we'll charge you less for coming to camp. Okay, back online. Yeah.
Have you thought about doing this ahead of time so the staff in the kitchen can prepare so they don't run out of stuff? My troop goes 1 week, and my daughter's troop goes 2 weeks later, and there's been times where they've run out of stuff. I'm just thinking if you were able to get the stuff ahead of time, would that build a better, you be able to get the supplies you need for summer?
Yes. So when you're entering any of that roster information, put the details into your registration. A week before you come, I pull a special notes report that tells me all of the special dietary needs stuff, and I give it to our kitchen. So, okay. Yes.
Real quick for the older scout programs where they're gone the whole day, do we take them out of this menu count that comes delivered to our camp at lunch or something, or do we keep them in?
I know where your scouts are going to be at different times. So if I'm planning for them to be off-site, I will plan to have their meals off-site, and that's fine if it's a one of the standard meals. But if it's going to be a gluten-free vegetarian meal, just talk to us about that at check-in, and we'll make sure that that's the case.
Thanks.
Good question. When you're filling out this form, it's asking for number of youth and the number of days that those youth are going to be there. It's more important for the adults because a lot of times we have part-time adults coming in and out, and your numbers up above look really weird. And that's just a way for us and for you to double check to make sure that everything's lining up appropriately. You can change these throughout the week. You just talk to your camp director or commissioner. They can change these numbers for you if you've got extra guests coming later in the week that you weren't anticipating. Cooking Merit Badge in camp. Our Cooking Merit Badge program, if they sign up for Cooking Merit Badge, is going to get them started. They are not going to finish it. In fact, they're not going to do any cooking. They're going to do all of the other requirements in preparation for them to cook. The Merit Badge is laid out in a particular way. It makes sense to cook meals at home where you're comfortable and familiar. for a smaller group of people first before you take that to a camp out. Also, a merit badge counselor has to approve your menu before you go and buy any ingredients. I don't know about you, but I don't want to go grocery shopping for everybody's individual meals in the middle of the week, and you don't want to do it either. So they can start cooking merit badge at camp. They can submit their cooking at home requirements to your own merit badge counselor, because I know most of you have a merit badge counselor in cooking. They can submit that to your own counselor, or they can submit it back to camp before November or December 1st. There's a whole system for that in the planning guide, and links are online. But the following year, we're going to be writing a guide. This will be available before summer camp. We're currently working on it to provide you examples of how you as a troop can take the scouts that started cooking merit badge last year and how they could finish cooking merit badge this summer at summer camp, where they would buy the ingredients before they come to camp, bring those to camp, store them at camp, and cook those ingredients at camp. There'll be a couple different models that we'll be building, but in general, you would need to do this, you need to plan for 6 people, 1 adult, 5 kids, to not be on our food service plan for the week. When you sign them up, you'd sign them up for bringing their own food, those 6 people. And one of the models we're working with is that 2 scouts are finishing cooking merit badge, and one of them's doing their camping merit badge cooking requirements. And those 3 scouts would be cooking for those 6 people in total, and throughout the week, they would cook the meals for everybody and satisfy their requirements at the same time. You'd check out Lightwave stoves from us if you need them. You hike to that remote campsite, half mile down the road for your hiking requirements, cook in the site, come back, bring your own water and your stoves and all of your equipment with you. But we're trying to map out a way for you to do that if you haven't done that yourself. Any cooking merit badge questions? So just to clarify, if they sign up for cooking merit badge with us, we're going to get them started. They're going to come out of camp with their meals planned, with their ingredients lists and their recipes, and they'll be approved, ready for them to cook at home or for the troop. If you do your own swim classifications before camp, that's great. That makes your check-in experience a little bit easier. If you don't, we'll do them for you. But there's a swim classification worksheet and information in your planning guide for you to review. Also in your planning guide, there are 2 waivers for special programs. There's an ATV waiver. This needs to be filled out every year for any scout that's doing the ATV program. Other things for the ATV program that are important to note, they have to wear ankle high boots, long sleeve shirts, and long pants for the ATV program. If they show up without those things, they will either have to buy a long sleeve shirt from the trading post, a pair of sweatpants. I don't sell boots. I have a few winter camp boots that have been retired that we can use, but please make sure they come with the right gear. It's in the box on the form of what they need to bring. That needs to be signed, and you'll bring this to bring it to camp with you, and you'll turn it in at check-in. If anybody is participating in the logging camp shooting sports, that's the double barrel shotgun and lever action rifle. We also need a waiver for that. These 2 programs, ATVs and that shooting sports program, are the only exceptions to the end of August age things. For these 2 programs, they have to be 14 on the day of riding or shooting to participate, because it says it on the ATV. Came that way. Must be 14 to ride. Yes.
What type of verification do you need if they did ATV 1 last year and they would like to do ATV 2 this year?
I have been keeping a detailed roster of all participants, so I will verify that for you. Good question. So if they did ATV training in the past at camp, how do you submit your certification so that you can do the extra trail ride for the 15-year-olds and that extended ride? We'll verify that they completed it. We've got the spreadsheet from last year. It's not a bad idea to have that certification card that we gave them at the end of the training as a backup, though, because we make some mistakes. But we've been able to verify via our spreadsheet. Camp equipment. If you're in White Pine, you don't pay for tents, tarps, or cots. Comes standard. So if you want that, go to White Pine. Their tents are on raised platforms. which is pretty cool. You can take those tents down and put up your own tents in White Pine. You don't have to use our tents, but they're going to be up and ready for you when you're there. If you're in Sioux or Chippewa, you get to decide where you want to put your own tents. And there's multiple patrol sites in each campsite, and you can figure out your own arrangement. Every troop is a little bit different. But if you want equipment from us, there's a small fee for it, $8 for tents, $3 for cots, $4 for tarps. Anybody here can rent propane from us. We'll give you the tank, a full tank, and that's $25 for the week. And if you're in Sioux camp, we have those really nice 2-burner stand-up camp chef stoves. We'll rent you that with the propane tank for $30. So the stove was really just $5. Yes.
Have you added any raised platforms in any of the campsites?
We have not added any raised platforms in any of the campsites. If you're interested in doing so in Chippewa or Sioux camp and you would like to provide the materials and the labor, we will help you do that. Some troops have. So. All right. Requesting equipment, you can do this online. It's the same place that you would change the name of your troop contact person. So whoever your troop contact is, all of that troop level stuff, equipment, is going to be in that. And I'll be going over that in the breakout after this. Is there another question back there? Yep.
Just want to, kind of with this, the stove and back to the meals and stuff. So I just want to clarify, if you want to cook at camp, then you get no meals in the mess. You pay the $45. Otherwise, all meals would be in the mess hall.
Right. So the question is, if you're coming to camp and you're signed up as a standard participant, all of your meals are going to be in the dining hall if you're in Chippewa, the dining shelters if you're in White Pine, or delivered to your campsite ready to cook in Sioux camp. Sioux camp is a patrol method cooking camp. We provide you the ingredients, you do the cooking. Yes.
Sioux camp meals. Last year you guys started doing Dutch oven stuff. Great. But heads up on charcoal.
If we're going to be sending you stuff to make desserts in Dutch ovens, we'll send you a charcoal, and we'll make Dutch ovens available to you. So if somebody in the kitchen makes that decision and you weren't prepared for it, give me a call and I'll talk to Mike. Make sure he's not going rogue on our menu. And then just if you want to bring your own food for whatever reason, even if you just want to cook your own food for the week, there is an option to sign up for that. And you can do that in Chippewa or White Pine. That option's available in any camp.
Is that tarp for like the dining fly?
Yeah, the dining fly, it fits one picnic table. It'll cover generally one picnic table. Yeah, it's a dining fly, tarp, dining fly. Sorry, I should have wrote dining fly. Yep.
So Sioux camp meals will be the same with the lunch coming prepared and done, no cooking of the lunch, just cooking breakfast and dinner.
Yep. Lunch in Sioux camp will be delivered hot and ready to eat. And breakfast and supper will be coming earlier for you to cook in your campsite.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the capacity for those tents?
2 person per tent, 2 people per tent.
Do you guys have spar poles available? You traditionally have done the A-frame dining fly shelters.
We provide the uprights and the ridge pole for that and the tent stakes for that. Is that answering your
question? Spar poles, so we'll lash together structure and we just have a tarp to go over the top. But we do not have a trailer the size to transport spar poles.
We will provide the poles you need to put up our equipment. But if you wanted to do some pioneering in your campsite, that sounds pretty cool.
That 16-foot long staves, basically.
Oh, we don't have 16-foot long staves poles for it. You'd have to bring those yourself.
Okay.
Or talk to me about some aspen that you cut down somewhere in camp. But
thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So you got your scouts signed up. You're preparing them for camp. Merit badge pamphlets. They're awesome. If you're not using them, use them. They're amazing. They're designed so that an 11-year-old can digest the content of that merit badge. Every scout should come to camp having looked at that book. Please keep a library of them. They're awesome. Even if they're outdated and the requirements don't match, the content in them is still pretty darn good. So if a scout shows up to Sailing Merit Badge and they've never cracked open a Sailing Merit Badge book, that's not okay in my mind. There's really good diagrams, lots of pictures. It's easy reading. Your scouts should be doing this for any merit badge that they start. So maintain a library of merit badge books. In the Black Pug system, in the scouting event system for registration, there are lots of reports, and there's several that just address where are my scouts right now, and how you break it out. There's one report that's really good for preparation for camp that will print one sheet per scout, and it will take all of the prerequisites that I have or special notes and extra commitments for a badge, and it will summarize them in there. It also states the time and the days that that merit badge is happening. This is a really good thing that you can print off easily and give to all your scouts and say, here, make sure you have this done before you go to camp, or be ready for this. You can print out other ones that will just summarize the time and where and who, and in different ways, by session, by scout, lots of different options. Check out those reports, play around with them, find out which one is going to be best for your troop.
Do you have the ability yet at camp to make schedule changes, or if a scout decides that their merit badge schedules aren't going to work for them and they have to change schedules, do we still have to call council office Monday morning at 8 o'clock, or can we make those changes?
So the question is, last minute changes in merit badges, how do we address them? I pull my reports and lock the system a week in advance before you come to camp, so that I can communicate who is going to be doing which merit badges, how many scouts are coming to swimming merit badge for Billy's merit badge class. If you need to make any changes within that, you got to call us to make that change, because I need to know that there was a change so I can tell somebody else that their report that I printed for them is no longer accurate. So you can make those changes at check-in if you'd like, as long as there's room in the class. So you just can't do it online a week before you come to camp. A lot of things that are happening at camp within that week that you don't see. Good question. If you have last minute changes and you can't do it in the system because the system's locked out, give us a call, or you can make that change at camp depending on how complex that change is. Camping to wilderness survival merit badge, probably fine. ATV program to the high ropes program, a little bit more complex. Okay. So arrival to camp. I want one person to go to the welcome center. It is the welcome center. Last year, I was told I couldn't do my plan, which was central services. So it's the welcome center, so that everybody's driving by the really cool stuff, which is great. I need one person with all of the forms and the information. Your camp coordinator is going to go to the welcome center. That's where you're dropping off your health forms, your waivers, verifying all your programs, getting your name tags, all kinds of stuff.
So which entrance are we supposed to use to camp? We go left or do we go straight?
Follow the Google Maps pin. The address will get you to the ranger's house, where the mail goes. And follow the signs to the main entrance. Please pay attention to the signs. If one person goes to the welcome center, that's great. I would recommend you drive everybody by the welcome center. It's a cool, grand entrance, but if you sneak in the back way and go by central services, that's fine. As long as one person goes to the welcome center to check in, I'm happy. So in short, everybody go past the welcome center, please. That's the best way. I need at least one person to stop at the welcome center to do your check-in on Sunday, and that's between 1 and 3. If you're traveling more than 300 miles, I'll let you come the night before because you got more travel. You'll just settle in, do your own thing on Saturday night. You'll provide your own meals up until Sunday night, and just communicate with us in advance. And that's available for people traveling further. Everybody else during check-in, I don't want them in the welcome center. That's a lot of people, lots going on Sunday afternoon. Send them straight to the campsite. They want to start setting up. You want them to start setting up. Let them set up. You're going to get your campsite set up Sunday afternoon. If you need swim tests, I want you to go to the beach as soon as you possibly can. So if you're not planning to do swim tests in advance, the swimsuit should be on the top of everybody's bag. Before any tents get set up, you put on swimsuits, you go to the beach. Get those swim tests out of the way. We don't want everybody showing up at 5 p.m. for swim tests. You're not going to have a good time. We're not going to have a good time with that experience. I love people doing swim tests at camp because a lake is not a pool. So a swimmer in a pool doesn't always equate to a swimmer in the lake. So Swim test before camp is great if it works for you. It's convenient for you. Awesome. But we'll always make room for you to do it at camp. Question over here and then back there.
The question I had was, Paul, you talk about Welcome Center. I'm sure assuming that's the Berglund Center.
It is the Berglund Center, the Berglund Welcome Center.
Doesn't say welcome on the maps.
When you drive to camp, make sure your face isn't on your phone. Look out into the scenery and look for the signs that tell you where to go. Just follow the signs and you'll get to where you're supposed to go. If something changes between now and camp, that's how I'm going to communicate it to you. So pay attention to the signs. If it says visitors and campers to the right, go to the right. We'll get you there. If you end up in your campsite by other means, by float plane, chance, we'll get you to the Welcome Center. Figure it out. The Berglund Welcome Center. Thank you for the clarifier. Yep.
Are we able to arrive to our campsite before 1 at all? If we check in at between 1 and 3, does that 1 and 3 window also apply to the campsite?
Yeah, the question is, can I show up earlier to my campsite? If you want to sneak in special ops style into camp and start setting up your campsite earlier, sure, you can do that. But our staff are not back from their day off yet. So if you need something, I'm not going to be able to necessarily help you at the speed that I could help you at 1 o'clock. So if your tents aren't there at 11 o'clock, because that's when you showed up that morning, wait till 1. Okay. Trading post segments. You can earn segments throughout the week. The requirements are in your planning guide for those different segments. We may be adding some new ones. If we do, we'll update you on that. But you can earn these throughout the week. You can buy these at any time in the trading post, and you can just charge them to your troop account. These are fun ways for the scouts to see what they've done. And I've seen countless people point at each other's uniforms or sashes and say, "What's that for?" And then the scout tells a story about summer camp. And gosh, I love that. So little target. It doesn't say I went shooting at the archery range, but they get a little target on there and someone says, "What's that for?" "I went to the shooting range and I shot a bullseye." Great. They tell you a story about that. And what about this other one? So segments are really awesome. They're really good for parents because the scout comes home with lots of patches. Look what they did. Look at the value of camp. These are 50 cents a piece. And you can buy them in the trading post anytime throughout the week. You don't have to wait till the end of the week. There's no order form. You just walk into the trading post. "I'd like this segment." And then you can charge it to your troop. Yes.
Segments is a great way as far as accounting for them and getting them tracked to bring in adults to take on that role and to sort of like ease their way into the role of volunteering.
Good point. So if you're looking for an easy job to give to an adult leader to like kind of break the ice for them to volunteer with your troop, make them the segment czar. And anytime a scout does something and they think they earned a segment, they talk to the segment czar. And that's a job so easy that a troop guide or SPL could do it to empower more youth. But if you want to use that to empower adults, they can do that as well. Keep a tally of all the things that they need and who need them. And then they go to the trading post once, twice, 7 times. To get those. The trading post cost for all apparel is going up. So plan to bring, if you want to bring souvenirs back home, sweatshirts and things, sweatshirts are all going to be about $50 this summer on the low end. So if you want to come home with that souvenir sweatshirt, let your parents and families know that they should be getting that in advance. We are doing the snack pack again. So if you want your souvenir slushy mug and make sure that you have it and we don't run out, pre-order your snack pack. It comes with the slushy refills, candy bars, and ice cream treats all included in that. And that'll be $20 again. And you can do that in their roster. So in the same place that you enter their name, age, gender, and sign them up for merit badges, that same spot in your registration is where you can sign up for the snack pack. And that'll automatically get added to their account. You'll pick up your mugs at check-in with all of the tickets inside of them. Yes.
Informational thing on that snack pack. That would be a new idea for us that I would want to send to families. Hey, this is awesome.
Yeah.
You have something that gets sent out?
I don't have a flyer on that. I just have a blurb in the leader's guide, but we'll make one. That seems like a really good idea. Ian? You want to write that down for me?
If you send it out,
Snack pack flyer to send to families. Thank you. Man, it's nice having help back there and then right up here. Yep.
The snack pack is a really important piece for families or for troops that are going maybe like the last week of camp, because the refillable slushy mug or discount refillable slushy mugs, they run out, and there's no incentive, I think, for camp to provide more if it's the last week. So if you reserve that for the scout, if they say they want to do that, then that reserves that slushy cup for that scout.
Yep. So to summarize that, if you're camping in the later part of the summer, like week 6, 7, or 8, you may want to consider the snack pack if your scouts really want that collectible slushy mug that the refills on it are a little bit cheaper.
There's always tiers.
Yep. So, and I have the tiers too, and I have to count up the value of our inventory at the end of the summer every year. So it's all part of it. So this pre-order piece is a way for me to get you what you need without having to maintain a large inventory. Already carrying over $20,000 in segments every year. It's a lot.
Had you have a little blurb in that you said the leader's guide? Is that like 4 refills, 3 refills? You know, one is just the mug, and then they pay for refills.
5 slushies, 3 candy bars, 2 ice cream treats, if my memory serves me. It's up there with like horsemanship, tapaderos, stirrups. It's a lot of information. Yeah, but we'll include that on the flyer. I think that's a really good idea. Fairly new concept for us. Yeah.
We had a suggestion last year about trading posts. Metal straw. That's not something you're able to do. Otherwise, you know what flavor the slushy of the day is, like what color their upper lip is.
I like it. Reusable metal straws. We'll add that to the list. So Ian, metal straws in the trading post for sale. Reusable, because that's a good thing. Otherwise, we find the plastic ones all over camp and thing. Anybody seen Dune recently with the stain from the Mentats? I'm just going to call all the scouts Mentats. Big Frank Herbert fan. All right. After camp, or merit badges in general. They've been signed up for merit badges. They're prepared for merit badges. They've all cracked open their merit badge pamphlet, and you get to camp. They attend merit badges. I don't need you to fill out a blue card. Blue cards are a thing of the past. I'm not going to give you back a blue card, but you can pull a report for that if you want. But updates in the online system for you to check are going to be available on Wednesday and Wednesday night, so at 7 p.m. and 4 p.m. on Friday. That's earlier than years previous. We're going to work really hard to make sure that you have a summary of who's completed badges by 4 p.m. on Friday. That'll be in your mailbox, 4 p.m. on Friday. The reason for that is because our task force of adult leaders like you said it's really hard for us to pick that scout to finish a badge, the one simple thing that they didn't do, if they don't know about it until Friday night. So 4 o'clock on Friday is going to be open program. All the areas are going to be open. You're not going to be scheduled for a troop activity. It's just like any other night at camp. And that's their last chance to find a counselor and get it completed. So by 4 p.m., we're going to have that list to you. And then you're going to turn around and say, Billy, you didn't finish environmental science. Go talk to the environmental science counselor right now. Figure it out. That's not for you to walk around and storm around and interrogate staff. This is for you to tell scouts to interrogate the staff. That's what we want. To teach young people to interrogate camp staff. Put that in your sales pitch to parents. Teaching children to advocate for themselves. Yes.
If that's not in the mailbox, but at 4 p.m., where do we get it?
You find the camp director and don't let go. You'll have a sub camp director in your sub camp. To give you the background on it, we used to take all of the paperwork from the counselors and we brought it to central services. And then we did all the data entry up at central services. This year, we're going to keep the paperwork in your sub camp. We're going to take the admin staff and put them in your sub camp to do all the data entry there. and we're hoping that that's going to work. So all of those records are going to live in your registration. Your registration is in a system called Scouting Event. It is not Scout Book. Scout Book doesn't know Scouting Event. They don't talk to each other. It's complicated. They don't get along. However, Scouting Event, your registration or camp, does have an export where you can export data from your advancements from camp and then import that into Scout Book for you. There's tutorials and a guide sheet on the website for how you can do that. You don't have to do that. You do it the good old fashioned way and enter it online yourself. But we don't suggest that you do that while you're at camp. That would be pretty difficult, but easier with internet connection the way it is this summer. But 4 p.m. you'll know the results of their merit badges. And Friday night, you can fill out advancement reports if you really want to. But Friday night, we'll present you with a bill, which will include those merit badges on there. So we're going to give you the badges to go home with because I got them and I got to get rid of them. So I'm going to give you the badges. I'm going to save you a trip to the Scout Shop, and we're not going to charge you any more than the Scout Shop charges you for merit badges. I'm not making money on merit badges. It's a service. And then on Saturday morning, when you check out, we will give you all of your physical merit badges. If you're doing your own court of honor at camp and you're inviting all of your parents, talk to me about it. Maybe we can get you patches before that, but only if you're having all of your parents come to camp. Very few people do that. But if you're doing a big court of honor, inviting a lot of people on Friday nights, and you really, really want those badges to hand out, I want to help you with that. You're not going to have them in time to sort them into little baggies and other things, but we'll try to work with you on that. Otherwise, you'll get them at checkout on Saturday mornings. Yep.
Right. So we used to go through that torturous exercise of trying to get all the merit badges and all the cards in baggies Friday afternoon for a Friday night court of honor. As Scoutmaster, I don't need to do that anymore. What we do is we still have the court of honors, but we simply read off for each scout what they earned at summer camp.
Yeah.
And bagging all their stuff at their first meeting after summer camp.
I like it. You still do a court of honor or something to recognize your scouts that they've earned something. You just don't give them the physical thing because they're going to lose it. So I've actually have a lot of troops that do a court of honor on Saturday when they get back from camp, so that parents can smell everybody after summer camp. But everybody has to pick up their kid after summer camp, so they just like do a court of honor at like a picnic, and all the parents that didn't go to summer camp have to feed all the adults that did go to summer camp. So consider doing something like that, and then while you're driving home, one of the adults can be sorting through merit badges and putting them in little baggies. Yeah, you don't have to sign the cards anymore either, so because there's no cards that you absolutely have to have. It's all online. So I'm going to give you an advancement summary. It's not going to be merit badge cards, but there is a report online that you can pull yourself that will print off blue cards for you. They'll be blue if you print it on blue paper. And then you can cut them up, but you'll get the cards. But this advancement summary is less paper and it's easier to read. So that's a good thing. We still want everybody to do your advancement records online. We want you to submit those, but in order for me to give you merit badges, I have to collect an advancement record. So I'm going to take an extra copy of what's here on the screen, and I'm going to staple it to one of those carbon copy advancement records. You're going to put your information on the top, but I'm not going to make you write all of the advancements in the names because it's on this form. And that's a backup just in case you don't put it online. That's what I've been told by our registrars here and what they want.
Question, how far back do you go with those? Do you keep that?
Oh yeah, I keep them.
Back?
Yep. I've been in the cold Central Services admin building in the middle of winter, digging up merit badge records. Now they're all online, and I've scanned all the old ones because I got smart. So I keep them for 7 years. So, and as far as I know, they're going to live in Scouting Event forever. So you can also look at them at any time in Scouting Event. You can go back to old registrations and pull a report to see what Bobby made there. So if you forgot to do your online advancement records, they're still in there. You can pull and upload reports after camp. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on each of these, but in your planning guide, the green one, there is a summer camp coordinator job description here. So if you're not that person, you have a job description to give to somebody else. And then there's also a planning checklist. So this is a 1-page, something to put on the bulletin board or on the top of your clipboard. You can tear, the reason this is left stapled so that you can tear things out as you want to. But off-season preparations, read through these things, cross these things out. This is your task list, a reminder. Some are big, some are small. There's key dates in there, but please use that. If you feel that I'm missing something, let me know and I'll add it to next year's, as long as I can still fit it on 1 page. Yes, Dave.
Good question. Going back to merit badges and the camp wanting, being a facility to be able to issue a unit with the merit badges. As you're building out these leader coffee rooms, are they going to be printing facilities in there? The reason I ask that is if I have a scout that's earned the merit badge over the summer, and I want to roll that when they did it at summer camp, but they did it on their own. And I want to be able to, save that second trip to the scout shop because I have 3 other merit badges I need that weren't at summer camp. I imagine you guys are willing to help facilitate that in some fashion.
So the question is it going to be somewhere that you can print so that you can print an advancement report so we don't have to duplicate efforts, right?
That was stuff that was not necessarily earned at camp that you picked up by the unit since the last quarter one they had.
So ultimately looking for some way to print stuff at camp, right?
Print or get, even if it's electronic, you could transmit an advancement report to someone at camp so that that these scouts didn't earn, say, camping merit badge at summer camp, but I want to be able to get that merit badge from Tomahawk to leave with that.
Nice. So if you're finishing a partial on something and you're trying to communicate that record with our staff, you can just bring it right to the counselor and say, see, they've already earned this part. Can you add them to your roster? And they can add them to the roster.
Other than that, what about if they already earned the merit badge 2 weeks before they came?
Oh, yeah, that's easy to do too. Same thing at the front checkout. We'll add them to your advancement report. But if you want to do that online, we can help you print that at the Central Services building. If you're connected to the Wi-Fi at Central Services, you can print. So we'll help you out with that. So if you need to print anything at camp in general, great. And if you want to buy merit badges for merit badges not earned at camp, just let us know, show us the proof by email, carrier pigeon, whatever it might be, and you can get it from camp. Save yourself a trip. Okay, so we've got off-season preparations. Big things here is promotion, reviewing materials, making sure you know how to get into your online registration, which I'll be covering after the break. February, March, watch and attend this. You've already done it. You can cross it off. That's great. Plan and host a summer camp meeting. That's the big thing for March. That's what you're doing. Communicating, promoting, collecting information. April is signups. May, you're going to be sharing options. Health forms are being collected. Maybe you're doing swim tests then, submitting full payments. June is just full payments. And then we get into the 1 month and 2 weeks beforehand. This is organizing carpooling and figuring out how you're going to get to camp and making sure that you have everything from everybody. It's a big job. And I'm here to help. So if I can help in any way, let me know. I'm not going to call all your parents, but I want to help. Merit badge requests are going to be, make sure that those are up to date 2 weeks beforehand so that I've got all that information. I will be closing it down 1 week beforehand. That's when you're going to get your troop activity requests in. Make copies of forms, finalize details, share travel plans with parents so they know when they're supposed to be dropping people off, and making sure you know how you're going to pay for any incidental charges at the end of camp. So if that's a debit card or someone's going to get reimbursed, or maybe you're going to bring a blank check or something, we can do that. If you read call your treasurer and they give you the bank routing information over the phone, you can pay that way. Pretty cool. Usually very small at the end of camp. And then after camp, that homework submission. So this scout was doing their cooking at home requirements. And we have a way for merit badges that are specifically not able to finish at Tomahawk. You can submit homework after camp. And myself, or this year it was Ian doing all the work in the office, would receive these submissions where you upload photos and proof of completion of something, and then we will sign it off and then send you an email saying, yep, this is complete. But it's got to be good. If I'm spending time signing this stuff off, I want proof. I want to know that it was done, documented. You can upload lots of forms and documents and pictures as you do it. So I want to see this. If you're doing cooking merit badge, I want to see prep work. I want to see the final meal. Thumbs ups are always good. So this was a perfect example of I'm doing my cooking at home requirement. I need that signed off in Camp Help. This is only open until December 1st, and then I have other things I need to worry about at that time. That's enough time for you to do your fitness testing for personal fitness merit badge. This is not for environmental science. You can earn all of environmental science at camp. If you do not get your homework turned in by the end of the week, you'll have to find a merit badge counselor at home or wait till next summer and present your work to the merit badge counselor and they'll sign you off. We found that this year we just don't have the bandwidth to handle a scout not turning in homework at camp. So this is for finishing work that couldn't have been completed at camp, just to make sure that we're focusing our attentions on that. Yep.
Is it the TSR email address that you do this with, or is there a special?
There is a whole online piece to this. So if you go to the merit badge page on the Tomahawk website, or scan the one of the QR codes in the planning guide, or go to the website on resources page, there's a homework submission link. If you try to do one right now, it'll tell you, it has the Newman, you didn't say the magic word, blocker on there. So that will open up as soon as we open summer camp. We have told lots of scouts, sorry, this isn't good enough, try again. We're trying to uphold merit badge quality with this, not try to downgrade it. So make sure your scouts are doing it. Also, we've told parents that they can't submit for their own kids. So there's been some of them where there's been an email exchange and I'm like, I should be having this conversation with a kid with you copied on the email, not with you. Let's try again and work the program. So please prompt your parents about that. If they're helicopter parents or snowplow parents, then tell them to stand aside and let their kid trudge uphill both ways in the snow. There was another question. Yep.
Going back to the paying incidentals, can you use the Northern Star unit account to pay that?
Good question. If you are a unit from Northern Star and you have money in your council account, which many of you do, that you can use at the scout shop, can you use it at summer camp? Yes, you can. It's part of the magic of the system. But as I said earlier, I have not been fully trained on the magic of all of the system. However, who is the only person that can authorize those funds to be used from your troop? The committee chair. So I need to be talking to the committee chair when those funds are being used, and I need to know that that person's the committee chair. So I think you can actually pay that way online if you're the committee chair and you're logged in to your scouting event through your account. So it's possible, but unfortunately when you're paying your bill on Saturday morning, accounting is not working. So it becomes a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to say soft no on that one, but could be possible. If you want to pay for it in advance of camp, not necessarily for the incidentals. If you want to use your council funds for that, send us an email to authorize that, and it needs to come from the committee chair. And we can move however many funds you want for that. So yes, but it's difficult. Yes.
No question, not to put you in, but for Order of the Arrow call out, you know, this year, are they going to do anything opening a campfire, closing campfire?
Good question. It is going to be the same as last year, closing campfire. So OA call out is going to be Friday night. And that's just because our closing campfire is going to be, it's more of a recognition campfire. We give out the awards at camp. Scouts are going to be doing skits at the closing campfire. A lot of fun. I've seen some really good skits. I've offered people jobs immediately after campfire based on their skit delivery. And there's that closing campfire, while we're on that topic, doesn't start until 8:30. So if you want to do your own court of honor, we've built in a segment of time right after dinner for you to do a troop court of honor, and then come to our closing campfire. We want everybody at it. And if you won the Camp Cup, you have to be present to win. So that's when we're giving out the Camp Cup. Yes.
You're doing Scoutmaster dinner and beach bash cheeseburgers on Wednesday again?
Yep. So schedule wise this year, I didn't change much this year. So to my benefit and to all of yours. So Scoutmaster dinner is going to be on Wednesday night, and Cheeseburgers in Paradise is going to be an event we hold at the beach. So anybody eating supper on Wednesday night is going to be at the beach or at Scoutmaster dinner with me. You can bring 2 guests with you to Scoutmaster dinner. And if you have 2 troops at camp, if you have a girls troop and a boys troop, that's 6 people that can come to dinner with us. And it's not cheeseburgers. So cheeseburgers are pretty good, but yes.
Yeah. Will there be bikes allowed at camp this year?
There will be bikes allowed at camp, and in fact, I encourage it. I love biking. More people should bike, and it's the best way to explore Tomahawk. So if you want to bring bikes, you just have to be responsible on the roads, wear a helmet, and if we see anybody not being responsible, we'll just take your bike privileges away. So, but it's great. It turns Seneca campsite, which is a great site, it's just that's further away from the dining hall, turns it into a great campsite because you can bike everywhere. And you could bike to the Welcome Center as an activity. It's a great thing. You could go play disc golf or visit the bison by bike. So yeah, please bring bikes. We just ask that you have a good way to park them. And a new way for bikes, by the way, to park them is just to take the seat and hook it over a beam. So we've got a couple of those cross beams in all the areas, but it's a really cool pioneering project using like hiking sticks in your campsite that you can do to use for advancement. Make a camp gadget and hang your bikes on it. Yes.
So I noticed with the bundling scale programs, that there's more of a focus on trades this year. So is it more of an alternating year where NOVA programs that are more like robotics related or those kinds of things that might alternate every year?
Good question. So the trades programs, or at least the STEM programs that we're doing, what's the rotation plan for them? There's lots of STEM NOVA programs, and our attendance rates at those have been lower, so we're going to rotate those. Probably a 3 or 4 year rotation. So up and away, we're not doing that next year, and plumbing was part of it, and we thought that was pretty cool. So we did that this year. Robotics and programming will be back. Those merit badges will be back. Electronics will be back. So we're putting those on a 4 year rotation so that your older scouts have a more variety over their time at camps. All right, I'll cover a few more things and then questions. One more thing. So I think we have 2 at least here that have never been the Tomahawk before. Raise your hand if your troop has never been the Tomahawk before. Give them a round of applause, everybody. Welcome to Tomahawk. It is your camp. It's our camp. It's all of our camp. We have a lot of troops that travel to Tomahawk and then they go someplace else the next year. Why would they do that? Tomahawk's the best. Now, people like variety. That's great. That's important. But Tomahawk is big. We have a lot of programs, and summer camp isn't what it used to be. And there's a lot to know. And we want to make sure that all of our new troops got the inside scoop on how to make Tomahawk the best experience possible. And we want those people to feel welcomed. So we're starting a new troop ambassador program. There's a breakout right after this that Myron Jacobson, one of our scoutmasters and volunteers, is going to be leading. And it's basically for troops that are been there, done that. You've been to Tomahawk. You know a lot of the ins and outs. And for you to be buddied up with one new troop. I've got 36 troops this summer that have never been to Tomahawk before. And I want them all to come back next year, and I need your help. Why? Why would we want more people to come to Tomahawk? Well, more people means the fees for camp are not going to rise at a rate that they have been. And it means that we can offer a wider variety of program and better quality program for everybody. So that's why, but also it's the right thing to do. People that are not part of our Tomahawk community are joining our community, and we want our camp to become their camp so that we can all work together to run the best scout camp around. So if you are interested in that, Myron's going to be leading a breakout, and we're going to be doing that in this section of the room. We're going to close the divider off after the break, and you're going to be meeting in this room if you're interested in that. If you're interested in being a host for the All-Star program and you want to put your name in the ring for that, say, yeah, sure, send me 2 scouts. That'd be great. We'll show them a good time. If you want to do that, you're going to be meeting with Ian Flickinger. He's going to be in the Staley room, which is a smaller room down the hall to the right. On the left, there's a sign outside that says Staley. That's where All-Star hosts are going to go after the break. And if you would like a more in-depth view on the scouting event system and how to populate a roster, make payments, pull reports, I will be doing that in this room over here. And that will be the only option if you're available online. However, if you're joining us online and you'd like to be an ambassador or you'd like to be a troop host, put that into the chat. Teddy is going to capture that information and I will reach out to you later. So before we break out, are there any more general questions that I can answer for everybody? Okay. Yes.
Family Island.
Family Island.
For a full week you have to do, can you do part weeks? Can you do a weekend? Can you?
Family Island, does it have to be the full week? And right now there are 8 cabins that are full week, and there is 2 cabins that are a la carte by night. The booking for that is different. You'd have to go through the Tomahawk site and go through the off-season rentals, which is counterintuitive, and I'll try to change it in the future, but you can rent a la carte. If you want me to make it easier for you, just send me the dates that you want, and I will send you a link.
And are you able to do like a Friday? So like I have.
You can do a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday.
I have a staffer, so it'd be nice to spend.
Yeah, that's perfect for staff. Yep. So Saturday night stay for staff is great. Just send me an email and I can help you with that. Email's on your folder and plastered everywhere on the website. So if you want to stay over the weekend for Family Island, you can do so. Just send us an email. That'll be the easiest way. Yes.
Question about the bikes. So, last year we had issues with, there was a group of really young scouts on bikes that they just didn't have a lot of etiquette with riding through camp, and like a lot of us almost got taken out of times. I'm wondering if, like when they have bikes, if there could just be some kind of orientation about just general trail etiquette, and just telling us bit of.
Yeah, bike etiquette in camp and people misusing that. We need to have an orientation on that. So Ian, make another note. I've had that on our other notes as well, but bike orientation for people bringing bikes. We'll have your commissioner do that when you get there, but it's still going to be an issue. So if you notice somebody that is not using bikes, they're cutting people off or they're biking down trails instead of the road, find out who those scouts belong to, and we need to address it because that's an opportunity for them to learn about the rules or have them get their bikes taken away so that we can ensure that the biking at camp is safe. And even if we take their bikes away, it's a bummer for them, but that's a lesson that they're going to be learning. Yes.
So looking through here, I'm stepping down in 2 years and I'm training my replacement starting this year and next year. Your IOLS, is that correct? Where it's now on calendar year, if it's even, you're training it on odd weeks and vice versa, or is that a misprint?
Yeah, and I apologize for not covering that. We just have a lot to cover today, but there are adult leader trainings, wilderness first aid and IOLS, and that paddlecraft safety. Paddlecraft safety is new, that's why we covered it. But wilderness first aid is only offered every other week at camp, and those weeks change depending on the year. And we alternate that with IOLS. So IOLS is now every other week. So this year is an even year, which means that weeks 2, 4, 6, and 8 are going to have wilderness first aid as a training option. And weeks 1, 3, 5, and 7 have IOLS. Please attend those programs. If you don't, we will stop offering them. It's just that simple. So we took IOLS down because we had some sessions where it was just 2. And I was taking my best outdoor skills person and having them teach 2 adults instead of kids. So, yes.
So plan on Eagle call up then Friday closing campfire?
Yes. At check-in, we'll ask you how many Eagle Scouts do you have, and we'll give you an Eagle Scout honors patch that you can hand out to them. We'll announce that at Friday Campfire. So we'll be looking, if you have any scouts that are Eagle Scouts within the last year and they decided to come back to camp, we recognize them for sticking it out with their troop and still being involved as an older scout. So we will have a patch that we'll hand out to them, and I want names from you at check-in for that. Our check-in procedure is quite long and thorough. So another note about check-in, the person that's going to the welcome center, you cannot count on them for your stuff in your campsite. They're going to be busy. Yes.
Can I make a request that for callouts, the Eagle Scout callout or the OA callout, that somebody check pronunciation of the scouts' names before calling them out? We had one kid embarrassed last year because the name pronunciation came out sounding like a girl's name for a boy who was a little bit embarrassed to stand up at that point. It'd be, I think, a service to at least get a phonetic pronunciation verified.
Sounds good. We'll make a note of that. So Ian, OA callout lists, phonetic verification at roundtable. So at one of the week-long roundtables, or one of the roundtables, what we'll do is we'll pass the sheet around. And if you have any concerns about the phonetic pronunciation, that'll be your opportunity to spell it out, how it's supposed to sound. Yes.
I'm at Tomahawk and say I need wilderness training aid. Is it possible just to come up for those 2 days and just do that action if it's the opposite week?
It is. I had a couple people last year that couldn't attend the wilderness first aid because it wasn't offered on the week that their troop was in camp. And they just stayed in a tent in the Arrow of Light camp, and we worked out some part week adult rate for them.
Okay.
So you got a call.
Yeah.
Yep. But yes, that's possible. Just give me a call this spring. We'll figure it out. Yep.
Are there other OA events for existing members that should bring their sashes?
Are there other OA events that members should bring their sashes for? Our Order of the Arrow Lodge is trying to get a coordinator at camp to run Order of the Arrow events throughout the week. I haven't heard that they've been getting much traction on finding somebody. So other than the OA callout, there aren't any official OA events at camp that you would need a sash for. But anytime you're doing service anywhere in scouting or in your community, you can wear your sash because you're representing the service that the Order of the Arrow does. So.
Along those lines, one of the segments is the OA segment to do an OA approved service project. Who is the coordinator for that? Who approves that?
So your sub-camp director is the person you'll coordinate that with. And sometimes it's a campfire ring, which is where our callouts happen. And that would always be an OA approved service project. So if you're looking for that OA segment to do an OA approved service project, the campfire ring is a great one to help with. There's always benches that need a little adjustment, screws that have come out, nails, some straightening, holes to be dug. That is always one that we'll need help with. Yes.
I have an eagle that's earned it in the last year that they've passed the age of 18. That Friday night if they're there at camp, Friday night campfire.
Yeah, the question is, I have an Eagle Scout that earned their Eagle Scout and is coming back to camp, but they will be 18, so they're no longer a Scout. Can they still earn that Eagle highest honor patch? Yes, they can, and they can still be called out. Anybody you put on the list, I will call out. If they're 18, they'll probably still look like a youth, and it won't be weird. If they're 52, that might be a bit weird.
It's me.
But if you want to buy the patch, I'm not gonna say no. That's as long as you meet the requirements. So.